Hey everyone, and welcome. The term cloud computing gets thrown around constantly, but let's be honest, it can feel like a total jungle of acronyms and tech jargon. So today, we're going to slice right through all that noise. We're going to make sense of it all, from the very basics right up to the future of how we build software.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll nail down what the cloud actually is. Then, we'll take a quick look back at how we even got here. After that, we'll break down those core service models you're always hearing about, see what's coming up next, and then wrap it all up with why any of this really matters in the big picture.
All right, first things first. Before we can understand where the cloud is going, we've got to start with what it actually is. And for that, we need a really solid official definition.
And that's a totally fair question, right? We use it every single day, whether we're streaming shows, storing photos, you name it. But pinning down what it is the key to understanding everything else. So let's do that.
Well, it turns out the definition that basically the whole world agrees on comes from the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST for short. They looked at everything and boiled it down to 5 essential traits. If a service has all 5 of these, then yep, it's true cloud computing.
Okay, let's walk through these. Number 1, on-demand self-service. You can think of it like a vending machine for computing. You just go to a website, pick what you need, maybe some processing power, some storage, and you get it instantly. No need to talk to a human. Number 2, broad network access. This one's easy. It just means you can get to your stuff from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. And number 3 is resource pooling. The cloud provider has this huge pool of servers and storage, and all their customers share it. That's what creates these incredible economies of scale. Now, these last 2 are where the magic really happens. Number 4 is rapid elasticity. This is the cloud's superpower. Let's say you're launching a new product and you expect a ton of traffic. You can scale up your resources in a snap. And when things quiet down, you can scale right back down just as fast. And finally, number 5, measured service. You only pay for what you use. It's kind of like your electricity meter. When you switch off the lights, the meter stops running. It's the same idea. If a service checks all 5 of these boxes, you're looking at the real deal.
Okay, so we've got the what, but why is this model so powerful and compelling today? To get that, we need to look at its history, which really happened in 3 big waves of evolution.
It all started with Wave 1, Colocation. The idea here was really simple, but it was a game changer. Building your own data center is insanely expensive. So why not just rent some rack space in a data center that someone else built and manages? It was a huge win, financially. Then came Wave 2, Virtualization. This is where things started getting a little more abstract. Instead of physical servers and physical hard drives, we started creating virtual, software versions of them. Now, you still had to manage and configure all those virtual parts yourself, but it was a massive step towards being more flexible. But for pioneers like Google, even that wasn't fast enough. They needed to move at a massive scale, which brought us to Wave 3, Containers. This is the modern cloud, a completely automated, super elastic system where the infrastructure basically builds and manages itself to run your code. And that, right there, is the 3rd wave cloud we know today.
Now, coming out of that second wave, that era of virtualization, 2 main ways of offering cloud services popped up, and they became the foundation for pretty much everything we do now: infrastructure as a service, what we call IaaS, and platform as a service, or PaaS.
So, first up is IaaS. You can think of this as the absolute bedrock. It gives you the raw ingredients, the virtual computers, the virtual storage, the virtual networks. It's like you're renting all the parts of a data center, but you don't have to own any of the actual physical boxes.
Okay, now building right on top of IaaS, you have PaaS. With a platform as a service, you're not fiddling with the raw infrastructure anymore. Instead, you get a platform where your code just hooks into libraries that handle all the tricky stuff underneath. And this is a game changer, because it means developers get to focus on the fun part, building the app, not on all the plumbing.
So let's put them side by side, because this is the really critical difference. With IaaS, you get those raw parts and you pay for the resources you decide to set aside ahead of time. But with PaaS, you get a managed platform and you only pay for the resources you actually use. That is a huge shift, both in what you have to manage and how you pay for it.
Of course, the evolution didn't stop there. The whole trend was moving toward more managed services, and that's where 2 more models really came into the spotlight, pushing this idea of convenience and, well, not having to worry about stuff even further. I'm talking about SaaS and Serverless. Software as a service, or SaaS, is probably the one we're all most familiar with, even if we've never heard the acronym.
These are the apps you don't install on your computer. They just run in the cloud and you use them right through your web browser. I mean, think about it. You use SaaS all the time. Anyone who's ever used Gmail or written something in Google Docs or saved a file to Google Drive, yep, you've been using SaaS. You're not installing software, you're just using a service.
And that brings us to the next massive leap, serverless. This really takes that idea of abstraction to the absolute limit. With serverless, developers don't have to manage any infrastructure. They just concentrate on one thing and one thing only, their code. The platform takes care of literally everything else.
So what does this actually look like? Well, for example, Google has things like Cloud Functions. It's perfect for when you just need to run some code in response to an event, and you pay only for the split second it runs. Then you've got Cloud Run, which is awesome for deploying applications that are already packaged up in containers, all in a totally managed environment. So you have different tools for different serverless jobs.
All right, we've gone through a ton of tech here, from the basic definition to the very latest trends. But let's zoom all the way out for a second and talk about why this whole shift is so incredibly important for businesses and, well, for everyone.
You see, the reason everyone is moving toward these managed services is actually pretty simple. It's about focus. It lets companies pour their time, their money, and their energy into what they're actually good at, their business goals, instead of getting bogged down running a bunch of complex infrastructure. And that means they can get their products out to customers faster and more reliably.
And all of this points to a really powerful idea for the future. Companies are going to compete not just on their product, but on their technology, specifically by building amazing software that runs on top of really high-quality data. In a way, it means that every single company, no matter what they do, is on a journey to becoming a data company.
So this leaves us with this really fascinating, kind of mind-bending question for the future. As cloud technology keeps getting smarter, automating more and more of the complicated stuff underneath, what does that free us up to do? When the machines handle the infrastructure, where do we, the people, point the next great wave of human innovation? Something for you to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.